Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Bright Side. We're your hosts, Grateful Howie, Howie Craw, and Dr. JC Dornick, Grateful Dragon.
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great, and how are you doing? I know that today is a special day for you and the chicken, that
right.
You were supposed to be walking down the aisle in Cape Town, South Africa today, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's we spend so much time finding the bright side of things, and that's what we've been spending our day doing, finding the lesson in it and not sucking our thumbs about it, not being victims of it. But it was an emotional day, especially for my little lady. Sometimes we have a tendency of, especially as guys, I think, just being a little tough and being able to handle things. But today what I did is I just gave up the whole entire day today to my chicken, because it's an emotional thing and I don't know if all the ladies out there can resonate with this, but it's an emotional thing to build up this cool stuff. I mean, God, I was going to walk down the aisle with my daughter, who we don't even have here because of the coronavirus. And she had her dress picked out and everything like that. So what we did today is we just, because we're like 100%, we're going to talk about this. We're 100% focused on our health and our business and everything. And we'll talk about how that's an odd thing to do in December. But today we gave ourselves what we call a Yoko Ono and John Lennon day. We spent most of the day just in bed and just hanging out, watching movies, and just had a wonderful day. But it was an emotional day for sure.
Yeah, I could feel it, and your posts were heartfelt, and the love that you two have is amazing. So the fact that you have to wait another year, I'm glad that my plane tickets are exchangeable for next year. So I'll look forward to being there. And but you just mentioned John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and yesterday was the 40-year anniversary of his death. And I watched this.
How odd is that?
Yeah, and I watched an incredible special. It was unbelievable. And Annie Leibovitz was the photographer that took that picture that we all think about, with them wrapped up with the roses in the bed. So when you just said that, I had this picture of you and Mika with all the flowers and the white sheets and taking pictures of it. But what was really amazing is that this 40 years ago, they went back and tracked the doormen, the hospital workers, the student, and everybody obviously aged. And I know exactly where I was, and that was just, that was a shame. Just a senseless situation.
Well, you know what though, and this tees us up for the topic right now. Everything's about perception, right? We're going to talk about this whole 2020 year and how everybody's excited for 2021. But one of the things that I love about our conversations, which happen on and off the air, this concept of finding the bright side, is it's not always just ignoring tough times. Like you just mentioned, you just had a memory of what an awful thing and what a loss and everything. So finding the bright side of something like that is not just saying like, hey, on the bright side, we have his music or something, but it's just finding the lessons, and I'll share something interesting, because today was all about Chicken and I recognizing where we should have been. When you make a statement that says we should have been, we could have been, you have to be careful with those words, because you remember our words are how we program our subconscious mind. Our program is always running, which is 95% subconscious. So today started off saying we should have, we could have, we would have. But then we found out that some people that are very, very close to us wouldn't have been able to be there. I'll give you an example. I mean, we had some friends that are dealing with some family tragedy right now. They wouldn't have been there, and now they will because we rescheduled it. But one of my dearest friends, almost like a brother to me, his name is Pastor Scott Schatzline. We asked him to be he was going to
I know him.
Officiate the wedding. He had a massive challenge, almost died, and he's now this is an evangelist pastor.
Yeah, I've seen him speak.
And now he's just learning how to speak again. So he wouldn't have been able to do it as well.
When did that happen?
That happened just out of nowhere. It happened like 5-6 months ago. So I'll share that story with you. But my point is that there's a very, very bright side of all this stuff. So, whenever you take the time to like say, okay, my perception right now, is that I'm below the line. I'm a victim. I coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? That's your first instinct, and you have feelings associated with that, and that's okay. But you move into this place and you start to question. In my book, I have a chapter called Holographic Vision, which just simply means to stop before you make a decision and implant what that experience actually means, your perception. Take a walk around it and look at some of the other things. And we identified that it was actually a blessing that we didn't have our wedding. And we're now even more excited about the next one.
Well, I think also when it does happen, it will become that much more special because of all of the angst that went in pre. And then when you get there and the crowd that'll make it there, your family and friends, it will be so special. So
and I brought one thing up to the chicken and I know she's watching this, and I said, here's the brightest side of the whole thing. Because we have to wait another year before we actually get married, I will love you that much more when it happens. And that made her smile. Well, so let's get into this. Let's get into our topic.
Well, honestly, when I saw that, I just thought that it's amazing that you two met and what a great, awesome couple you are, and how you help so many and how you care about so many, and that it's really amazing that at that stage in that place that you guys met, and you're both very lucky to have met and have one another. So all the best,
brother. Yeah.
So we are coming to the end of the year, and I know we've had these conversations, and I laugh at the word resolution.
Right.
And we touched upon it a little bit last week, and we know the numbers are gigantic in terms of it doesn't work.
Right.
And, whether it's 85% fail by the second week of January, 98% by the second week of February, whatever it is, because too many people use that date as just an excuse to say they're going to do things that they didn't do during this whole calendar year. And then we have a plethora of excuses why we didn't do them this calendar year. So I think what we wanted to talk about is, how do you have a better chance at a better 2021 in achieving the things that you want to achieve?
Yeah, we live in some pretty interesting times, and I don't know if anybody that's watching this will notice that we changed our names here to Grateful Howie and Grateful Dragon. Now we happen to be deadheads, but that's not what we did. This has more to do, and that's why we wrote it the way we wrote it.
Side note, JC, have you ridden the Peloton Dead Rides?
I actually did one, yeah.
Yeah, I did one, like a 45-minute one, and she was so passionate and told me.
Howie, I never in my wildest dreams thought I was going to exercise to the Grateful Dead.
Right.
But in any case, I think that more than ever, and this is a great tool, the superhighway to living in the present moment and experiencing that which you have is a great first step to seeing the bright side of things. When you're not looking at the bright side, you're typically focused on the things that didn't go right in the past or the things you're worried about the future. So best thing you can do is live present. So gratitude, and we've talked about this a lot, if I ever find myself a little bit lost and catching myself in a drift, catch my drift, the first thing I have to do before I shift is I just have to identify what it is, just get to that present moment, and I just experience gratitude. So a great exercise right now, is first of all to just become aware that as human beings right now, we're in this position where we're kind of waiting for this to be over. I did a couple of podcasts on this concept of, identifying what it is that you're consuming, your self-talk and everything like that. But how many things are you trying to get rid of in your life? How many things do you wish didn't happen, or things that you want to undo, right? Because anytime you say I'm unhappy, right? Or I don't want to do that again. What you don't realize is that becomes more of your reality rather than saying, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to get better at and look into the future. So we're kind of all in that mode right now. And you know what? I get it. Everybody's allowed to have their own perception. We've got the politics, we've got the coronavirus, we've got the wear the mask people and the no wear the mask people, and everybody's just out there fighting over stuff that they have absolutely no control about. But meanwhile, we've got this real estate here, right? Timestamp of this, we're on December 9th. I should know that automatically because it's our wedding day. But timestamp, we're getting ready to finish off this year, but people are kind of checking out and starting to just resolve that, okay, get rid of this year. In fact, I saw a guy wearing a mask that says 2020, I highly don't recommend it, or something like that. So we're giving up on 2020 and we're shifting our focus now to this whole idea that 2021 is going to be better. And that's what we call hope. We're all clinging to hope right now. And I get it. But here's something I just want to offer people, and this is really important. First of all, if you really, really unpack 2020, you will find so many blessings. I mean, Howie, our friendship, look what happened to our friendship in 2020. Here's this terrible year with speed bumps, tolls, and spikes in the road, right? And derailments. And meanwhile, we developed this. In fact, the bright side wouldn't even be here talking about the bright side if we didn't do it.
Would not be.
That's right. So I've forged new friendships. Chicken and I took our relationship to a new level. I mean, God, what an amazing year. And we also know that God only prunes the branches that he wants to see grow. So the way I'm looking at this and taking that aspect of looking at this year as the bright side is I believe that we're being called right now. If you look at any personal growth lesson, right? Change comes on the other side of challenge. God only prunes the branches he wants to see grow. So we're being pruned, right? I think the universe and God is not only calling on us to level up, but it's also letting us know that we're about to, because everything that we desire is on the other side of a pile of shit, right? Yep. And if you look at this year and you are like me and you see this big, steamy, smelly pile of shit, well, you should get up in the morning and be damn excited, because everything points to the fact that if you push through the shit, and I'm proud of everybody for getting through this year and doing such a great job. And I'm calling on people to rise up out of the depths of their victim status right now. But man, that fable of the kid that's rummaging through a room full of shit, but he's got a great outlook. He goes, with all this shit, there's got to be a pony somewhere. I'm looking for a pony right now.
Yeah, that's the way to see it. I mean, there really are so many amazing things that came out of this year. I mean, people that got to spend time with loved ones that never would have been able to do that. Families been reconnected. Yeah, there's a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, but also when we look back on it, a lot of greatness will come out of this year. And I think what you say is so true, that people just writing this year off. Get me out of this year, get me to next year. And when I go to the beach and I draw this line in the sand, it only stays there for a minute till a wave comes, and then the line goes away and you can make another line. And that's kind of like what January 1st really is. It's just a line in the sand, but it's a mindset. It's a mindset that everybody thinks change the calendar, change the date, but the work starts now. The work has to start now, so that if you're running, you want to have a running start. You don't want to have a dead start. So I think it's really important to start to ask yourself, what is it that will brighten you up going forward? What is it that you want on that other side of that pile of shit, or what we call fear? And then what can you do, and how are you going to go about holding yourself accountable to get it? And I think that you also said that the self-talk, if you keep talking to yourself nasty, negatively, not nice, I always joke, would I talk to other people the way I talk to myself? No.
I wouldn't dare talk to anybody.
Never. So why do I give myself the permission? Because the more I do that, the bigger that pile of shit gets, and you don't get through it.
Yeah.
So it's important to go back to gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Practice gratitude, not just to others, but to yourself. I did one of my lives the other day, and action is what we're talking about. You need to take action. But sometimes just a step of action, even though it's imperfect, is where you get started. Imperfect action leads you to action, which leads you to the bright side.
Absolutely. And you know, I don't want to just brush over that, but I want to give everybody a little bit of an upload right now. And you know, the biggest challenge that we ever have in life is to become conscious of things, and aware, and practice mindfulness. But you know, Howie, what you reiterated, this idea of our self-talk, you know, if you think about it, perception is our biggest challenge. Did you think this was a good year or a bad year? Did you have a good day or a bad day? Are you happy or are you sad? Those are all perceptions. And perceptions, right, your outside in view of things, they have a big to do in your mood. You know, Joe Dispenza, who I'm a big fan of, he says, you know, all of those things can have an impact on your personality, right? And he says, and if you're not careful, you don't recognize that your personality becomes a personal reality. And, you know, I just want to remind everybody that, you know, everything that you think is, your whole concept and your whole concept of current reality is based on this programming that you've got since you were a kid. You know, you were programmed by your mother, father, teacher, and preacher to say yes and no to things, to think this is good, this is bad, I should do this, I shouldn't do that, I can do this, I can't do that, that's a good day, that's a bad day. So we've got all that stuff that we have to rework and rewire. But the only thing that we really have to program ourselves right now is our self-talk and our consistency in action. So right now, if you're not catching yourself, reminding yourself on a regular basis that things are shitty right now, what you're doing is you're making your current reality that of a shitty one. So just one other thing on that is, first of all, what is actually going to happen on December 31st at 12 midnight when we go over to January 1st? I mean, I know that we live in a society that just thinks that like it's either going to be the apocalypse or a pot of gold's going to shower over your head. But you know what happens is a number changes. And I want everybody to recognize that months, you know, January through December and all of these numbers and everything, those are all man-made things. Those things were not made by the universe. So we've been trained to believe that when this year ends and this year doesn't, something actually changes. Nothing changes. It's just the new start of a year. There's seasons associated with it. So if you're buying into this idea, this mystical idea that January 1st will bring good news, well, there is something to say about being positive and looking forward to things and expecting greatness and all that. I get that. But we all know that it's hard work that does the job. So what I want to offer everybody right now is an insight that most people are unconscious to, and that's our biggest challenge. If you've made a decision, and catch yourself right now, if you've made a decision that 2020 sucked and it's over, and you've kind of checked out of 2020 and you're starting to look at 2021, warning. Here's what I want you to consider. You haven't just checked out of 2020. When you check out, whatever it is you were working on physically, mentally, and financially in your life does not grow. It either planes out, but more commonly regresses. So this idea that January 1st will be the day that you'll go all in, just consider the fact that the day you wake up on January 1st to go all in, your first goal will be to get caught back up to where you were when you checked out. So if you're checking out right now, you're setting yourself up that your first goal of 2021 is going to be to get to the place the day before you checked out. So I'm offering you this concept, and a lot of people are coming with us, Howie, because we've got this big challenge that we're going to have for everybody in January. But we're offering everybody a left instead of a right now. The stampede's going this way with the herd. there's this select few people, and remember, there's only a select few people at the top of a mountain, right? So there's a select few people that are saying, I'm going to go into January in the best physical, mental, and financial shape, even if it's just measured by momentum, so that when I get to January and the magic dust comes, it will help me level up. And that's something people are unconscious to right now.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like, there's no benefit in checking out other than if you're going to the beach in Aruba for a few days and you just recharging your battery. But
well, that's a
here
check.
we are.
That's not a check out. We're checking into paradise.
Right, but December 9th here, and people already have been talking about this since Thanksgiving, throwing the towel in on the year. You know, that challenge that you mentioned, it's incredible how many people in our select group have already signed up and committed off the heels of what we did in October and August. Right. So backed by popular demand, it really does help all three buckets. It's the physical, mental, and absolutely on the financial, if you decide that you wanted to be part of this movement and wanted to get involved in coaching. And it really is remarkable, the changes that we see, not only for ourselves, but for others that we help along the way.
That's right. And, you know,
I like when you say that's right.
I know, right? That's what Chris Voss taught us.
Right.
You best, and I got to share that. Chris Voss is a genius. You know, I watched his master class, and you invited me to come speak, and I read his book. But he says the two most important words you could ever hear in a negotiation from the other person is "that's right," because that's the only way you know that they understand that you understand. You know, I think everybody's listening to this right now, and they're getting it, right? It's because this is sensical and logical, and it's just about saying, hey, you know what, he's right. 90% of the people that say that, hey, that makes sense, an hour from now, they will. It's so powerful. The other side, the dark side of the moon, is so powerful because it's where you spend most of your time. It's going to convince you otherwise. Like an hour from now, you're going to say, these two guys are fucking crazy. I'm going back below the line. I love the taste of my thumb in my mouth. I'm going to stick there for a while. And, you know, all you're doing is basically saying, I'm going to try to get different results next year doing the same thing I did this year. But
what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and look and you know, expect, right?
That's it. And, you know, the easiest thing for you to do right now to remember the commercial and they go, I should have had a V8, right? I always think of that when somebody like all of a sudden makes a distinction. If you really just sit back right now and take all the rules of the game of life out, you know, what you think you can do, you know, most of the time when you start to consider what it is that you want in life, you always view the future through the lens of the past and you limit yourself. So get rid of all that shit and just make a decision right now. No rules, genie's out of the lamp, magic wand's in the hand, Harry Potter's here, right? Something Levioso. And he says, what do you want? And you dream big, right? You dream big for next year, physically, mentally, and financially. No rules attached to it. So spend some time thinking about that and how that'll improve your life. But then here's the exercise. Go back and ask yourself if what you're doing right now and how you're thinking and how you're speaking and how you're talking to yourself and to others and also all your action steps and all that stuff, is it in support of leveraging that or is it not? Or is it even actually against that? Because there's just no damn reason to do that. It just doesn't make any sense at all to live a life that's not in support of your dreams. The only reason that you can justify doing that is you don't believe in your dreams. So I'm giving everybody permission to dream really, really big, really, really big. Because remember, I said this in the beginning, perception is the biggest thing, right? And if you perceive that dreams are silly, you know, you didn't when you were a kid, you know, and that's how you got the shiny bike and the puppy dog and all that. If you dream really, really big, and all you got to do is look at it, to touch it, it's just so obvious to see what you should and shouldn't be doing. So I'm giving everybody the chance to say, here's what I want more of, and here's what I want less of in life next year, and I'm going to go into action right now to support it. I'm going to start my campaign now.
Yeah, what is it? Something like 50 or 60,000 thoughts a day are in our head?
Yeah.
Isn't that the number?
But we only grab onto like 4 a minute, you know. It's
Yeah, but it is crazy. So if you could figure out how to stop the loop, it'll allow you to grow.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to us and you hear what we're saying, to give yourself a chance to hang on the bright side, perception, that's a great word, really is. Because how you perceive yourself is how you're going to be perceived by others.
Well, man, you know, dragons into some heavy stuff, you know, and we're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but if you ever want to have some fun, go look into the people that think that this whole life that we call normal is just a simulation. It's not actually real, you know. It's pretty interesting. I was reading something this morning about that movie, The Matrix, right? I don't know if you remember.
Right.
But the whole concept of the Matrix was this character Neo lives in this world that he knows is real, right? And that's where all of his perceptions are. And they stick this thing in the back of his head into his brainstem, and then all of a sudden he ends up in this simulated world that looks as real. It feels you can even get hurt in it, but he knows that this thing's in the back of his head, so this is the simulated world. So if you ask yourself, what's this thing that was stuck in his head? It was just a new source of information that his body decoded and assimilated as real. So you don't have to buy into the whole, this is not real, this is a simulation. But I do encourage everybody to take an assessment of what you're consuming right now. Whoever controls the consistent information that is being delivered to human beings controls their reality. Because your reality is a side effect and a symptom of all the information that you're letting in. So turn that damn TV off for a little bit. Turn the TV off, hang out with your family, and like I said before, dream big. If you're not dreaming big right now, you're probably allowing a bunch of crap into your mainframe, and you're creating a reality based on that.
Dreaming is awesome. Dreaming is forever. When you stop dreaming, not healthy. Gotta keep the dream and the fire alive. JC, I'm looking here. We're going to keep this to a half an hour. So, we're coming towards a close. Here we are, Hanukkah's tomorrow. Christmas is in 2 weeks. Got to get the holiday spirit out there. Again, 2020 shouldn't steal that. The holidays, whether they're Zoom or with family or friends, we all just have to appreciate and put it back in your head that we're here, it's different, and next year will be different too. That's right.
And, I have so much faith in humanity because we're so good at adapting, and we're very, very smart, creatures. And I also know that we all have this burning thing that's inside of us that shows up every now and then that says, I don't want to live like this anymore. I know there's more. I want more. So if you wake up like that, if you wake up and say, I want more, right? I want to be healthier, happier, wealthier. You're a seeker of the just like me. Just raise your hand. It could start with this idea of running with us and 1,000 people in January in this challenge that we have that's going to be about mental and physical. But don't hold it to yourself. Just take your hand and raise it, because there's a very, very good chance, and it could be one of us, it could be somebody else. Somebody's offering you a hand of help right now, or maybe a sign or some sort of guidance. Just take it. Say yes instead of no for a change, and see where it takes you. What's the risk in saying yes? When you said that, you need to change something, right? So we're going to change the calendar, we're going to change a number. But we, people, individuals, collectively, together, need to change something if you want a different result. So if you're offered the opportunity for change, try it. What's the risk? You could always go back to what you're doing, right? Yeah. And if it was, trust, nobody is operating in a perfect situation. So why not be open for change? Then again, you could just do nothing. And then, that's always an option. If you're looking for a guarantee, do nothing, because it's a guarantee what'll happen. Right. All right, my brother.
All right. Great being here. Amber, thank you. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. We'll do it again next Wednesday, 5 Eastern. Any questions, thoughts, feedback, let us know. We're here for you.
Peace.
Have a great night.